Good morning. Glad to get a minute together today, and I appreciate your faithfulness and you from our church. Thank you. Thank you so much for just being faithful to church. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our church and church growth, and I want to encourage you to be there. Get out of the house, get into church, sing, participate in the offering and singing out loud and praying together. And we'll talk about that in a minute. I do want to mention our Wednesday nights. I've started a series on why we're Baptists, and I want to encourage you to be a part of that. Tonight's going to be different. Brother Dave Matuzak's doing the Bible study tonight, but on our Wednesdays, very, very important. In our Sunday school, we have 7 different adult classes, and teachers are at liberty to teach specifically to their class what they think their class needs. But I think most of the classes we're working together through a series that I think will be a help and a new series, and be an encouragement about the wonders of the Word. This book, just the things that make this book just incredible. And there's so much about the Bible, and I'm always learning new things about it. I think, wow, I didn't know that. This Bible is the most amazing book in all the world. And so it'll be some astronomy, it'll be some history, it'll be prophecy, all sorts of things. But it's a miraculous book. And we're going to be talking about that. And again, you may go to an adult class that has something different, but I'd say most of our adult classes are on that series with us. And I trust our adult teachers, and we've got great adult teachers, just really good teachers. And it's a blessing to have them. So before we get to the lesson, and we're gonna be in the book of Matthew in a minute or two, but I wanted to talk to you, on Wednesday nights when I've been talking about how we got where we are, why we're Baptists, and how we became Baptists. And one of the things is I was addressing the last couple of weeks on how we got so many different churches and different varieties. And I want to just give you an example, and I think I mentioned this some time ago. This is a book called A Pursuit of Purity. Is American Fundamentalism since 1850. And it's not talking about moral purity, it's spiritual purity. And from 1850, that's not that long ago. And just talking about what's happened in America's churches that were at one time Bible-believing churches, to get to where when Otis Beale wrote this, and I'm going to look real quick to see if I could date it, 1986. So from 1850 to 1986, 136 years, the downgrading of biblical philosophies. And I know some of you, this may not be a big deal, but I'll tell you, if we don't keep our churches teaching and believing right, and we're going to, if the church fails, God's going to start more churches, because it's God's truth, not my truth. But here's just an example. In 1923, the Presbyterian denomination, the Presbyterian General Assembly, they issued something called an affirmation. And they basically said, if you are going to be a Presbyterian minister, if you are going to have a Presbyterian church in our association, you need to accept these basic 5 fundamentals. They're only asking for 5 things that they'd agree on. And said 149 Presbyterian pastors, and they got together, and this was 1910, 1916, 1923, and the affirmation boldly asserted that neither the Bible, now this is the affirmation from these, I got this reversed, the 149 Presbyterian clergymen are saying to the Presbyterian denomination, we don't agree with you. The Presbyterian denomination said you had to believe in the virgin birth and this list of things you have to believe in. Well, the affirmation from these 149 Presbyterian pastors, and we're talking about in the early 20 years of the century, and these guys said this, that they boldly asserted that neither the Bible nor historic creed taught inerrancy, that such tenets as, now listen to this, the virgin birth, vicarious atonement, bodily resurrection, and the miracles, they were all theories, and that the General Assembly had unconstitutionally declared belief in these things, these doctrines, as essential for licensing ordaining, or good standing in the church. Now, there's a lot more there, but let me just read that list again. The virgin birth, vicarious atonement, vicarious meaning he did it in our place, like a substitutionary, a bodily resurrection, and the miracles. And they were mad. 149 pastors, this is in the early 1920s. They wrote a letter saying, you're wrong to say that those things are doctrines. Those are just ideas. And what a mess. What a mess when people standing in pulpits are saying, yes, the story says Jesus fed the 5,000, but you know that's just a story. You know it says he walked on water, but it's just a story. Jonah was swallowed by the whale. It's just that's what these people are saying, that Christ rose from the dead. Now we know he didn't really rise from the dead. His spirit left, but his body didn't. Well, they're basically saying the Bible's a lie. And so even back in the 20s, the Presbyterian denomination was fighting, trying to hang on to some fundamental beliefs, pure fundamental Bible doctrine. And every denomination had it, and plenty of Baptists have got off and gone haywire. And I just want you to realize there's a war going on. And there's a war over the spiritual purity of the church. And the devil, of course, is on the other side, and he's trying to tear down the truth of the Word of God, tear down people's confidence in the Word of God. If the devil can get the church people to think this is a fairy tale, if he can get people to think, well, we're all okay. I know you don't know what gender you are, but it's okay. If the devil can get people thinking that way, then he's won the victory. And of course, God's not going to let him win. But he may win in one church or another church. He may win in a denomination. And Baptists are not a denomination. We're independent. Some Baptists are a denomination. We are not. So it's so important that we know what we believe and we stand for what we believe. As Jude says, that we would earnestly contend for the faith that was once delivered to the saints. So just some thoughts for you. Now, Matthew chapter 7, I'm just going to give you something very brief this morning that I mentioned at a soul winning meeting a few weeks ago. And I just wanted to get us all thinking, this matter of soul winning, to go out and someone angry at me, they said, where do you see soul winning in the Bible? He that winneth souls is wise. It's a Bible statement. Proverbs 11:30, the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise. The Bible talks about Daniel 12:3, they that turn many to righteousness shall shine as the stars forever and ever. That's our job, to turn people to righteousness. Now, a simple soul winning formula. Let me read a verse or two, very familiar. Matthew 7:7, ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth. He that seeketh findeth. And to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Now, let's just put those two verses into soul winning. The church, and I mean you, if you're a member of the church should be praying for souls to be saved. Put it on your prayer list. Save souls. It's on my prayer list. Souls to be saved and baptized. We ought to be praying for souls to be saved. And I don't go to the jails. I helped one of our men start the jail ministry, and we planned it and organized it right here in my office. And then he'd meet with the people in charge. He'd come back, and I can't do everything. And I'm happy to give everybody jobs. I love it. But I do pray for souls to be saved in the jail. In the rest home ministry, many, many years ago, I started. I was the first one doing rest home services. Then got another man involved, and now a lot of people have been involved over the years. And I will go on occasion, but not very often. That's their ministry. But I pray on Sunday, usually at the Sunday dinner after church. I'll pray, God bless them in the jail, and bless them in the rest homes, and bless them on the bus routes. God, help people get saved and help encourage people. Now look, church, I want to ask you, would you pray for souls every day? Put on your prayer list, God, help people get saved. And then, God, help the people come to church. And then pray, God, help people to get baptized and get reading their Bible. We want people, the Great Commission is to go and to win and to baptize and to teach them to observe all things that Jesus commanded. It's Matthew 28. Our job's not just to get people saved. Our job's to get them saved, get them baptized, teach them the Bible, and then get them obeying God. And so would you pray for souls? It says right there, ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find. Ask for God to get people saved. Number one, all of us, everybody, if you're an invalid, you ought to be praying that God would help people get saved. Pray for our community. Pray that God draws people in. And if you think of it, pray across the country. God bless the churches. Help the churches get the gospel out. Help people be drawn to, help people see this evil world and come drawn to the gospel, seeking something. Pray. Number one, ask, and it shall be given. Number two, seek, and ye shall find. Now understand this, the New Testament church and any Bible preaching church is going to go seeking the lost. There's a song in our hymnal, Seeking the Lost. And we ought to be seeking the lost. In Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 16, the Lord is rebuking the Old Testament preachers. And God says, this is what a good pastor would do. And he says, this is what I'm going to do. God says, I'm going to do this for my people. I will seek that which is lost and bring again that which is driven away. It's the seeking. Now, you can't have a good church if you're not seeking. Now, seeking, my coat's on the chair across the room. I'm not going to seek my coat. It's right there. I know where it is. Now, if I thought, where did I leave my coat? And I go to the closet and I go to hang on the back of the door on a hanger, and now I'm seeking. God says, seek that which is lost. We're to go looking. We're to go looking. And it's so important that we as a church, number one, we pray for souls. Number two, we go looking for souls. We go seeking souls. That's just as simple as that. If you're fishing, and some of the guys are going to go up to Bishop fishing. We don't know what fishing is going to be like this year with all the snow up there. It might be the water rushing so fast we won't find a fish. I don't know. But we're going to go seeking the spots where the fish are. Where are they held up and what are they eating? What are they feeding on? We're going to seek after some fish. And you don't just go over to the water and find water and throw a pole in it, throw a line in. Well, you can do that at a swimming pool or a septic tank. And that's not where you're going to get your fish. So you're going to seek the right place. So we go seeking through our bus ministry and seeking through the jails and seeking through the rest home and seeking door to door. We go seeking, talking to people wherever. So as a church, would you pray that people would get saved? Pray that God would draw people to himself. Pray that he'd bless every tract that's passed out and bless every door that's knocked on. And then secondly, we need to be as a church a seeking church. We should be seeking the lost. And if you're able to, I want to encourage you, join us in going out seeking the lost. Thursday nights, of course, for the ladies' conference, the numbers won't be there, but there'll be a few going out on Thursday night. But on Saturday morning, too, with ladies' conference, it'll be a totally different environment with soul winning. But Thursday nights and Saturdays, we go out into the streets and we go seeking. Join us if you can. Now, if you can't, carry a few tracts. Get a few tracts in your pocket, in your purse. And you're at a restaurant, give it to somebody. You're at the drive-through window, slide it through the window. You say, oh, they're not interested. They're going to lay it somewhere and someone's going to see it. And the whole church is praying that God blesses those tracts. And the right person will find that tract and they'll look at it and think about it. And somebody's going to get to church or somebody's going to get saved. So number one, pray for souls. Number two, seek souls. That's our job. Our job is to go looking and seeking. Now, I could go further, but let's leave it at that today. Would you ask God's blessing? Today, there'll be a bunch of teenagers going out. I don't know, every week's a little different, 30, 40 teenagers. That's their soul winning day. On Saturday, a lot of our young people go out on bus routes, and they're out soul winning in different groups. But Wednesday, it's just a big old group of young people. They just go out into the highways and the hedges. Pray for those teens. And right this morning, shut me off if you want to and pray, or wait till I'm done and pray. Pray for souls to get saved. Pray for these teenagers. Now, if you want to pray specifically, Wednesday afternoon, teens go out. Thursday night, we got adults going out. Saturday morning, adults and teens go out. And then some Saturdays, there's a ladies' jail. Sundays, there's rest homes, multiple rest homes, and jail services. And so you can pray for those times that God would get people saved. Now, I'm excited about our church. I want the building's filling up. Or full, I guess I could say. But we want it overflowing, and we want the crowd out into the foyer, and then we want to go back to double services again before the giant exodus when everybody took their equity and left California, and we want to get into double services where we were some years ago. And I'm not retired. I'm not done. There's people moving into our community. This area is growing. More and more people moving in, houses being built, apartments being built. And pray. People of God, pray for the lost, that they would be saved. And pray for the soul winners that are going out, that they would boldly proclaim the name of Christ. And pray for our buses. Pray, we need some more buses. We need some newer buses. But if we're going to get the newer buses, we also need drivers and mechanics. Would you put that on your prayer list? We really need, look, how valuable a mechanic would be if that bus went out and had 2 people saved a week, which would not be unreasonable at all. Could be 10 a week or more. 2 a week, it'd be over 100 people a week saved in that bus. And 10 years is going to be 1,000 people in heaven. And it's not happening for the lack of a mechanic. Give me some godly, greasy fingernails. Give me somebody with some gifts of knowledge of mechanic abilities. So pray God sends us mechanics, at least 1 or 2 mechanics, and then pray for bus drivers. We need some men or ladies who can jump in here. And there are people driving public school buses all over the community. We need some of them getting saved and coming to church. And then, of course, we need some buses. And pray. 2 things, pray and then seek. Pray and seek. And it's all about souls. And that's what we're here for. Hope you have a great Wednesday. Have a great day. Thank you, and God bless you.